Hello, hi. Welcome to Wonder Slut. I'm going to go live on TikTok, so give me a minute. I can't do this anymore. Okay, so today I released a podcast with Thane Martin. He has a website called itspurelove.com, and it's so beautiful. Highly recommend listening to that episode. He was a high achiever and discovered that after doing all the things that he was told would bring him happiness, he was left feeling very depleted and had a couple of horrific experiences in his life to become a workable template for discovering what is how you find true happiness. So it was a really fascinating conversation. And when I was editing it today, I listened. It was the longest conversation that I've ever recorded, I think. And actually, the podcast was spontaneous because I set up vibe checks before I meet with guests because some of them reach out to me and I don't know them. I haven't listened to any of their content or anything. So I always set up a vibe check so I can see if we're like a good fit for a conversation because, it matters. And so we were doing just a vibe check that day. And I said, well, I feel real good about this if you want to just record the podcast. And he graciously agreed. He had the time to do it. And we had a very long healing conversation that kind of broke both of us open, and we were crying, and it was just so beautiful. And gosh, I'm so thankful for the many people in the world that I've met doing this work. It just lights me up, and I'm getting choked up just thinking about it. That there are so many people who are walking the edge between the reality of what we find ourselves living in sometimes, which is a reality full of fear and division. And it's, propagandized very, very well and has taken over our thinking. So much so that, love is somewhere in the back of our brain, but it doesn't really guide our thoughts and our actions. So I've just been like dismantling this idea of what that looks like. And so the podcast that I'm releasing I'm live on TikTok before I release the podcast. It'll be released next week. I try to do them weekly. I will be taking off hopefully the months of July and August. And then starting on my season 4. Hopefully I'll hit 100 episodes before season 3 wraps, but I'm not sure what that looks like because I think I'm at 85. So 100 may have to wait until season 4. It's fine. Whatever it is, it's a very large body of work, and I am so incredibly thankful for all the people that have agreed to have these conversations with me that are edgy and inspired, and I get to dig in the brains of people that have like made huge transitions in their lives, that are doing incredible work in the world very bravely, just owning their own thoughts and their authenticity and going against the grain largely in the society that is driven by things that do not actually satisfy our soul. So in like dismantling all these different ideas, I was thinking through so much of my own life, and my own identity is the fact that I have performed a lot of who I say I am. And I want to open this with a quote by Carl Jung, if I can find it. Carl Jung is like my guiding light in all the things. Whenever I have any kind of like idea that I'm dismantling, I go to his body of work to understand, because he did so much work in this subconscious and in this shadow work, which I feel is very important for us to understand if we're moving through the world as evolved human beings. So one of the quotes about social masking and persona is what he calls it. The idea that you're performing your personality all the time is the persona is a mask that feigns individuality, making others and oneself believe that one is individual, whereas one is simply acting a role through which the collective psyche speaks. So what he's saying basically is that so much of what we believe our personality is just conditioning, that we're adapting to our surroundings constantly, and we do this from a very young age. You learn what what rewards you for behavior. So for example, if you're seeking love and connection, then you are rewarded if you're happy and performing the idea of happiness, right? Even though underneath that is like a tremendous amount of pain. If you can pretend that it's not there, then you're rewarded socially by, people engaging with you, positively affirming your behavior, all of these things. So you learn it from a very young age that performance is key to acceptance, belonging, and love. And it serves a purpose. It's the purpose of survival, right? Because especially as a child, you can't fend for yourself, so you have to rely on other people to accept you in order to take care of you, to feed you, give you a place to stay with, warm clothes and heat and AC and all the things. You depend on your caregivers. And if your caregivers are requiring you to show up in a certain way in order to provide you with those things, especially while childhood trauma is so difficult to untangle, then you become performance based, and your identity kind of revolves around that. So when you get into, being an adult and you realize you've performed all these roles and have basically acted your way through life and are completely split from your authenticity to how you're actually showing up in your life, your nervous system is so fascinating, because your nervous system is what protects you in the survival mode, but it is also what feels the split intensely between your authentic self and what you're performing. So then your body just starts breaking down because your nervous system controls all the things, right? So you start feeling anxiety, depression, burnout, withdrawing from society. Autoimmune disorders is very high for women. Diabetes, heart problems, obesity. Your body starts telling on you because you are living a split life between your authenticity and who you are performing yourself to be. And this is like personally hitting home for me. I hope that, I know that I get lost in like my ego, and I struggle with, being arrogant and condescending when I'm speaking, but I really am speaking to myself, because I am also in this with everybody, learning what it looks like to be an authentic human being, and learning when I'm performing and when I'm authentically feeling something is very tricky. And your body is the best way for you to know whether those two things are combined or not. So that's why meditation is so important, and somatic body work is so important, and paying attention to how you're feeling in your body at all times when something comes up for you, noticing where it is in your body. This is all traced also to your energy centers, which is a fascinating rabbit hole to go down. But it's just fascinating to me that everything is all together. We are one system, and we have been operating as if we're separate parts, which is, you can look at the Western world and they have dismantled us like we're doll parts. And it makes me think of that song by Sophia Isaiah. I'm not sure I'm saying her name right. Isaiah. Doll Parts. It's a fascinating song. Very disturbing, but man, is it accurate. And that's how we've treated human beings in this Western society. We've treated them as all these separate systems. So here's a pill for this, and here's a prescription for this, and all the things, right? Not just medicine, but also we're just encouraged to compartmentalize like across the board when we are whole organisms attached to the collective and the life force that animates all things is flowing through us. We're like so intimately interconnected, yet incredibly individual also. And so our brains are controlling all of these things, right? What our brains are telling our bodies is how we're organizing, is what we're organizing around. So if you have this message underlying all the things in your life that you have to perform in order to be accepted or loved or successful, then you are very committed in your body and in every decision that you make to that one narrative of what do I have to perform in order to belong. And we get so good at it that we have no fucking idea what we're actually thinking or feeling. We're just performing for social acceptance, for what society has told us to think and feel. And this was really fascinating. I was talking to one of my girlfriends about shadow work, and she's just now, well, she's been in this work for a while, but shadow work, the reason it is so significant is because we have been told that these are the behaviors that are appropriate in society, right? And so we just shut off the other parts of ourselves that are scary or that don't fit, that don't have a place in society. And so we just pretended like they're not even there because they're so scary to us. Like we like to point the finger at other people and say, oh, they are X, Y, and Z, right? They're inappropriate, or they break out of some like idea that we have of what is a natural way to be a human, when in fact if we're all interconnected, we have those same parts in us. And that is a really uncomfortable thing to dismantle, because that means that people that you hate because you also have those traits inside of you. It's real uncomfortable, but it's just true. You recognize something in someone else. That's why you have so many like issues with that person, is because you know yourself, you contain that same level or that same capacity. You've just shut it off. So that's why it's so important to address all the parts of yourselves, all the longings that you've like said were not acceptable, or that you shied away from because they felt too big or too gross, or too like, what would people think if they found this out about me? And all of us have that in us. Like, you are not a human being if you don't have that piece inside of you that doesn't fit in polite society. Human beings are the compass of all the things, the yin and the yang. There is no contrast. You have to have contrast in order to understand what love is. You have to have hate in order to understand what light is. You have to have dark. You are not excluded. I don't know, it just, my phone rang. That's what happened. I swear it doesn't matter. Okay, now I'm back. I don't even know what the fuck I was saying, but so the shadow parts are necessary. You cannot have light without the darkness. And it doesn't matter if you confess your sins to anyone, okay? No, that's not necessary to irritating. Okay. You don't have to tell anybody, okay? You just have to be honest with yourself. Other people's knowing is not necessary to your becoming. What is important is that you yourself have admitted it to yourself, to your damn self. This journey is so isolating and so individual. You do not have to bring people into it, okay, unless you just want to. But it's not going to inhibit your work, I don't believe. Maybe you are called to share it. I think we are meant to share with other people so that we're like walking each other home. All of that is important, but there's enough people out there doing that. They can find someone it doesn't have to be you if you're uncomfortable in that world. So Anyways, I've just been thinking through, well, when have I actually been authentic in my life, and when have I been performing? That is a real uncomfortable thing to look at, because then you're like, well, man, I was fucking faking it. I was faking it. I didn't want to be in that relationship or in that room or at that at that social setting, at that party with those people, because I didn't even fucking like them. I knew that they didn't connect with me. I knew that I couldn't have a conversation with them, but I stayed. Why did I stay? Because I'm performing this idea that I have to belong in order to feel comfortable in my skin, right? We're told so much bullshit in our life. So you spend the first half of your life being lied to, the second half of your life, you're dismantling all the lies. Like, well, that's unnecessary, because the truth is, you can find stability and safety and security in your damn self. If nobody in the world likes you, you can actually be fine. It is possible to I just spit. It is possible to achieve that level of comfortability in your skin with nobody liking you, nobody wanting to hang out with you. You don't ever have sex for the rest of your life, perhaps. Am I even allowed to say that? They're going to like throw up a filter. Schmecks. It's so funny. It's just so crazy to me that we have like been prohibited from being human. This is the way you're supposed to show up in the world, and here's the template by which you are supposed to behave. And so we all just are fucking fake. We're fake. Everybody's performing something all the fucking time because we do not know ourselves. Because we're too scared to dig in. It's hard work because you find out that there's a lot of pain in there and a lot of moments of really uncomfortable shit. And most people are very fine performing and faking it. But what they end up doing is withdrawing in themselves, and they don't have any deep connections with people because they don't have deep connections with themselves. They don't even trust themselves. So if they do have moments of authenticity and they're rejected, God forbid, then they just continue to like isolate and go inward and in fear. You're just fearful of people rejecting you or calling you names or whatever it is. I have so many people tell me I would come out on social media and start, doing a channel if I wasn't so afraid of what people were going to say about me. I'm like, well, that makes me real sad. For a number of reasons. Number one, why is anybody fucking paying attention to what you're doing enough that they have to leave a hateful comment? Like, that's weird. Like, don't you have like your own life to live? Instead, you're like criticizing other people who are actually doing something in the world. So interesting. And number two, why do you give a shit? They're not your people. Your people find you, it turns out. I can't believe I still have friends, if I'm honest. But, they're like me. So my friends are like me. That's why I have friends, because we're all like just trying to dig into this, like this weirdness about life, and just let's just be honest about who we are. Why are we faking it? Our bodies are breaking down because we're faking it. And what is so sad to me, well, I've grieved this in myself, and I'll continue to grieve this, I'm sure. But what is so sad is that because we are addicted to performance based living, that you behave a certain way, you get a reward, money, friends, social status, whatever it is. We reward fake people. Then you just start getting real comfortable with faking it. And then you don't even know who you are. Like, you lose yourself so much in the performance of an identity that you don't even know who you are. And I see it in men mostly. I mean, God help us. Lord help us all. Father, Son, Holy Spirit. I'm going to light some Palo Santo to clear the energy and ring my bell right now. I'm going to ring my own damn bell, okay? Because I'm in a dry spell. Ring my own damn bell. We don't even know who we are. And the work of finding out who you are is so challenging that You just stay. And I said something to someone the other day. Maybe it was to my damn self, one of my many identities. It was like, um, it's just so sad to me because it usually takes some sort of external event for men to change their lives. And usually it is not by their own design, even though I think they subtly sabotage their lives all the time because they're quietly desperate. They don't want to be the ones that have to carry the result or the consequence of their behavior. For example, having an affair when you're married. That's a great way to bust up your marriage. Uh, but inconspicuously, right? You think you're doing it in secret, but you're actually creating a minefield that's just waiting to explode. But you're not going to be the one to actually do it, right? You just feel like, well, I wanted to work it out and stay with her. Sure, you did. Sure. You wouldn't have had the fucking affair in the first place, in my opinion. I mean, maybe not. Maybe you did get lost in a minute. And then that's what it took for you to, like, start being a whole human being that's authentically living their lives. Maybe. But so if we could change the temperature of how we show up in the world, like just expect people to be weird. Let's just change what the idea of being socially acceptable is, right? Let's just be like, oh, she's having a hard day. She can't stop crying. That's interesting. She's walking barefoot in the grass. That means her nervous system is fucked up. I get that. I get that. I need to do that later too. Like, how about we just change all these things? Someone's walking with their hands in the air like I do often. And I'm sure people look at me like I'm a lunatic, but it feels so good in my body to reach to the sky and also move energy through me. And I just feel like I just need you to know that I'm tired of like being pent up. Like, aren't you just tired of walking around with your body all like contorted in these like stiff movements? We're supposed to move the energy through our bodies and into our spirits. And we just are so boring. We don't say the thing that we want to say because we're afraid of how it's going to be received. We are cowards. That's what I want to say. We're fucking cowards. We don't take our lives seriously. We show up to relationships half-assed because we're performing them. We don't know who we are, so how can anybody else actually know who we are? We cut ourselves off from intimacy because intimacy is the one place where you have a really hard time performing because they get to see you in the mundane every day. And we've gotten really good at hiding in those relationships also because we're fucking cowards. We don't know how to get to know ourselves. And also, when I work with clients, I tell them, if you come to our session and you haven't done your homework, I'm done working with you because this is hard fucking work. And it's intentional and it's uncomfortable and you have to want it. You have to love yourself so much that you want freedom, the freedom that comes from being authentic, the freedom that comes when you stop performing identities for anybody else but your damn self. You're just, I'm doing this because I love myself so much. And I have to stop performing because it's making me sick. And your body is telling on you. And if you have any sort of physical ailment, it is because you're lying somewhere in your soul about what you want. There's a great divide between your desire and how you're actually living your life. And our bodies and brains are all connected. This is not just me spouting off bullshit. This is neuroscience. This is, I don't know, chemistry, quantum physics. All of this stuff is based in science. It's not bullshit. There's a reason why authenticity is the highest level of vibration something, full stop, period. I don't know how to complete that sentence, but there you have it. And I am in the business of not performing anymore. I want to be so true to myself in whatever situation that I'm in, because I know what it costs me to not be. I know that physically I'm going to suffer. I know that I'm going to have to do some serious meditations the next day or yoga to apologize to my body for faking it. Because I don't want to function as a broken down human being that so many of us have gotten comfortable with. I was interacting with this person and hello, honey. Hello. And in their summation of how they wanted to look, if you were to look at them, you could probably say, well, they have about 50 pounds to lose. And I'm into peptides and all the things, so we were having a conversation about it. And she said something like, oh, I don't know, I just need to lose about 10 pounds. Because that's what she thought she could accomplish, and that was a goal in her brain that was good enough. And I thought, why are we so afraid of being great? Why do we shy away from that? You know why? Because nobody's fucking doing it. It is hard. It's hard to be great because you're alone, largely. That's why they say it is lonely at the top. But can we change that narrative, please? I don't think that's true. Actually, I think there are a lot of people that are doing great things in the world. I mean, as a testament to my podcast, it's like I have like the healthiest human beings on the planet Earth in my podcast that are doing really fucking amazing shit because they keep pushing through the discomfort and thinking for themselves and not adapting to what society is telling them they're supposed to be. They just keep pushing the edge. Well, if I can make it this far, what's further than that? There is no limit. The ceiling is a glass ceiling that is waiting to be busted. And you get a choice, and I think it all starts in your brain. It all starts in the programming that you tell yourself on a daily basis of whether you align with the law of the universe, that you are significant to creation, you are whole just as you are unconditionally loved, divinely protected and guided. I have all of this shit written on my mirrors. Don't I, Graham? Why are you just standing there hovering in the corner?
Just waiting.
Okay. If you're like lining up with the law of the universe, this is what I believe, then your body is going to just be humming with greatness and good things. And if you're living a life that is antithetical to that, to the actual law of the universe, which is what our society has propagandized you into believing, that you have to work hard to earn love and acceptance and validation and belonging. And you're supposed to be afraid of all the things. You're supposed to be afraid of differences and different people. And you're supposed to be afraid that there's not enough, that we're going to run out of resources, that the world is going to cave in on us. Do you know that nature is like, we can't fuck with it? I know we like take little chips away at it, but it's bigger than us. And to live in the fear mind, that's a whole other podcast that I'm not going to talk about right now. But anyways, so you get to choose who you will serve every day. Is it going to be love and the actual law of the universe, remembering who the fuck you are? Or is it going to be fear and scarcity and limiting beliefs? And I need to perform in order to have belonging and intimacy and love and connection, because it's total bullshit. Because when you're authentic, your people find you. You're never going to be alone. I promise. They fill your cup so much. One person that loves you authentically for who you are, that is also authentically themselves, replaces about 1,000 people in your life. Because all those 1,000 people, they just love you because you're performing an identity that is not you. And they can fuck right off with that shit. Okay, y'all are the best. Don't forget who the fuck you are. Bye. Please rate and review the podcast, even if you don't like it. Bye.